Longlegs, directed by Osgood Perkins, starring Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage, is a new horror film that just came to theaters on Friday, July 12th, and it has been my most anticipated movie of the year. Yes, I was incredibly excited for this ever since I saw the initial teaser. I don't even know when, maybe like November, December of 2023, I started seeing promotional stuff for this, and I utterly fell in love with what they were doing with the marketing of this movie. Now, there's so much hype surrounding this, so many trailers, so many, little Easter eggs that we kept getting, and I purposely kind of avoided the rest of it just because I didn't want this movie's hype to kill it for me, to set my expectations a little bit too high. So, I went into this more or less a little bit blind. I didn't really watch any trailers that I could help, because obviously, they were all over the movie theaters and stuff. But I went in with as little information about the plot details as possible. And I would recommend anybody else doing that and not setting your expectations for this movie whatsoever, because you're going to have so much of a better time accepting it for what it is and not what you have it preconceived to be. Longlegs is a very different movie than what it was marketed out to be. It was marketed out to be this disturbing, kind of glitchy cult horror film with a really scary Nicolas Cage performance in the middle of it, and that's not necessarily what we got. We did get those elements, and I will, dive into those in a little bit. However, that is not really what Longlegs is about. This movie is first and foremost a mystery crime kind of procedural movie. We are mainly following Micah Monroe's character as she uncovers this weird and inexplicable series of murders that she has a connection to. I really want to point out how important Micah Monroe is to this movie because her performance is fantastic. Obviously, she has acted very well in stuff like It Follows before, but I feel like in this movie she really just gets to shine the entire time and plays this character absolutely excellently. I haven't seen this strong of a performance in this kind of movie in a really long time, and I think that she definitely shot up everybody's lists for favorite performances of the year because she was just that good. I think she took this character who could have come off a little bit bland, who could have come off very cookie cutter, and gave her certain quirks and certain tics and almost like an anxious schizophrenic side that really helped make this movie so much more engaging and interesting. Talking about more of the performances here, I also really liked Nick Cage. There were certain elements that I'm not going to spoil about his character that I didn't love, but he was exceptionally creepy, and I would love to see him in more of these kinds of roles. I think that he excels as a horror movie villain, a really, eccentric character that is unhinged, but in a specific kind of way. And Longlegs as a character is so unsettling and so it eats away at you, almost. The horror from this film, specifically from him, isn't, jump scares or gory moments or, a lot of, heart-pounding, thrilling sequences, but it's stuff that just slowly gets under your skin that does not ever relent and seeps into your psyche the more and more you think about it. This is a movie that definitely you should wait to give your, reactions or reviews to until a couple hours after you've left the theater, maybe even a couple of days, because it just sits with you. It infects everything in your mind and it envelops you. Longlegs may be disappointing to some, a lot of people looking for it to be the scariest movie of the year or to be a very horror-forward film are going to be disappointed, but those who have their expectations set correctly and know that this is more of a procedural mystery movie are going to have a blast. And just like I did. I think this is honestly one of the best crime, murder, serial killer movies we've had in decades. These movies were kind of a dime a dozen back in the 90s and the early 2000s, and we don't get a ton of them today because I feel like they ran their course, but I could definitely see this movie having a huge influence on other films to come in this kind of vein, and I would love to see that because I am a very big fan of the serial killer horror side, procedural stuff. I always find it super interesting to delve into the psychology of the killer, why they're doing what they're doing, and the toll that it takes on the investigators. And this movie gives us exactly that, and a little bit more. It has ties into supernatural elements. It has ties into satanic worshipping. It ties a lot of these themes together really well, I think. And some of the narrative choices can be a little bit clunky at times, especially towards like the back end of the second act. I think there's definitely a lot of information being thrown at you at once that you really don't know what, you can't really juggle it all at times. But I do believe that they end up smoothing it out towards the end, and everything kind of clicks together, and it makes for, again, a very sickening and very hopeless movie. A movie that just gets in there and does not ever relent. I'm very happy with Longlegs. I think it's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I think a lot of other people are going to enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I did. I have a couple of issues with it that I, kept pointing out. That they're not huge issues, but they do, make for a little bit more of an uneven experience than it could have been. I wish there was more to the Longlegs character at times. I wish he was a little bit scarier. I wish they would have went a little bit further with him sometimes. But I think with the product that we were given, I am really ecstatic, and I really end up enjoying my time with it. So Longlegs gets a strong 4 out of 5, teetering on like a light 4.5 out of 5. I really did love this movie, and I feel like on a rewatch, I'm definitely going to love it even more. So, have you guys seen Longlegs? What did you think of it? Did you love it? Were you disappointed? Were you as scared as everybody else is saying that they were? I certainly was. And yeah, that is it for this review. I am going to be... I recorded the entirety of the roundup review for this year. I just have to edit that. Also, I'm going to start doing this thing where every month I do... Kind of like if you've seen Carson Runquist's videos, like his What I Watched This Month, but excluding new releases and, like stuff I've already talked about, and just strictly talking about like what else I've watched, the TV shows, the, other movies I've seen, in like a more of like an unscripted podcast format. So, look forward to that, and I will see you guys with the next video.